The Summer Birds by Penelope Farmer, Part 2, 11. Soon, out of the flurry of trying and seizing and failing, catching and being caught, diving down from the air, shooting up like planes and grabbing the unwary, a pattern emerged, encouraged by whispered orders from Toddy and the boy to their knights and little squires. On Toddy's side, Marley and Bandy and Toddy himself were the chief flag snatchers and managed to avoid capture surprisingly easily, despite the swiftness of Maggot and the boy, skimming unexpected in the air. On the other side, the boy was the main attacker. He could be in 20 places at once, or so it seemed, taking back a flag, rescuing a prisoner. It was invariably jammy. Defeating the efforts of the other side to seize their pennants. Maggot was swift, but not as swift as he. Ginger flew far slower than either, but his solid solidity made him a formidable defender, too formidable for such as Annie Feather and Molly Scobb, too formidable even for Scooter Dimple, though not for the Scraggs, who made him look like a sky whale faced by sky porpoises. He could not catch them in long flight. He could not catch them at all, which was probably why, when they came to the first pause they had agreed to have in the battle, they saw that Toddy's side was piling up flags and prisoners far too quickly. Breathing heavily, hair over their eyes, legs scratched red from beech twigs, they glared at each other across the pond, real enmity entering into their battle. Scooter Dimple stuck out his tongue at Jammy Hat and said, "Yah!" which was not very suitable, but effective. When the battle began again, Jammy forgot the order that he was to defend only. He charged across to Toddy's territory and was pursued by Scooter. Breathlessly they dodged each other above the dew pond. Scooter nearly put a hand on Jammy's ribbed corduroy shorts. He missed, he tried again, snatching desperately, and this time he seized them hard and pulled Jammy. They both fell into the pond with an outrush of wild water. It was just like the day at the lake, only now it was not funny. No one laughed. It was not a holiday now. It was a battle, and fighting they almost hated each other. Jammy was a prisoner, wet and shivering in Toddy's prison camp. So was Emma, caught by Molly and Annie combined. So was Charlotte. So was Ginger after one of his rare ventures over the enemy lines, though he managed to free Jammy. As well as Charlotte, Emma, and Ginger, Toddy's side held 10 of the 14 flags, 6 of their own, 4 of the boys'. As for the boy, all he had were 4 handkerchief-made flags with emblems of owl and eagle and 1 useless prisoner, baby Fumpkins, who was slow and panted like an old dog. They paused, breathless, wondering what they should do next. What could happen now? Toddy, triumphant, harangued his followers to victory. But the boy was very grave. He put Jammy to defend the supply tree, as that would be in danger now that 3 were prisoners. He himself set out grimly to attack, while Maggot hovered behind him, 6 feet above the dew pond, to protect the camp from other onslaughts. It was a slender barrier, only herself against 6 of the other side. Scooter passed Maggot easily to rescue Baby. The 2 of them saw Jammy guarding the supply tree, content to be there. They saw him guiltily take a peppermint, look around to see if anyone was looking, and push it hastily into his mouth. There was a smell of peppermint, a very strong smell, and the sound of Jammy loudly sucking. Scooter and Baby looked at one another. "If we get the supplies," said Scooter. "We might win," said Baby. "And of course it wouldn't matter if we had 1 or 2 sweets. It would be a fair reward," decided Baby. "So let's try," cried Scooter. They charged Jammy, but it was not so easy as that. While Jammy sat in front of the sweets, they were his, and he had only to touch his enemies' clothes for them to be prisoners again. So they dodged about and tried to lure him away by insults. "Greedy," said Scooter. "Who's stealing?" called Baby. "Fat face," cried Scooter. "Thief," shouted Baby. Jammy got very red in the face. Any minute he might leap on them, and then one of them would seize the supply, and that would nearly be that. But still, Jammy sat on the tree limb, swinging his legs. Their shouting was heard over the battlefield, heard by Annie Feather and Molly Scobb, who were very curious, and when they saw what the commotion was about, very greedy. "Shouldn't we help?" said Annie. "Perhaps we could," said Molly. "I'm hungry," Annie sighed. "So am I," sighed Molly. They looked around to see if they could take any of their own supplies, But there was Toddy glaring so hastily they withdrew their eyes. "Maggot couldn't catch both of us," declared Annie. "And we're winning by miles," cried Molly. So they too went chasing over the battlefield. By now there was such a noise from the boys' supply tree that even Bandy and Marley's attention was drawn for a while. As for Toddy, he was skirmishing with Maggot above the dew pond, each trying to lure the other to capture. For the moment, Toddy's supply tree was unwatched except by the prisoners, Charlotte, Ginger, and Emma. Desperately they willed the boy to see and come, see and come. Could he? Would he? It seemed so easy, so obvious from here, but he had a whole battlefield to watch. Yet suddenly he saw, and he came, swift in the air to seize the supplies and bear them easily home, with Marley and Bandy warned, too late, useless on his tail, while Charlotte cheered and shouted. At last there was only one flag left on Toddy's side, a flag with an owl on it. Toddy appointed himself chief protector of this, the one flag left to him. He crossed his arms and spread his legs in the air. He stood there, guarding with his life, and the boy came. He did not need to dodge the others. They looked at his face and drew aside in awe. It was fierce, his face, fierce and beaked. He was an eagle. Toddy was only a wagtail, but he stayed unmoving and watched the boy come, watched him until they were face to face, beak to beak, glaring. Then they were fighting in the air, and the others knew it was inevitable. Whoever won this fight would win the battle. Whatever had happened before, it had to be. Charlotte knew it now. The boy had to fight his own battle, Toddy his. They fought, one to win the solitary flag, the other to keep it. They fought. It was even, surprisingly so. They dodged in midair like animals, like a bull and a bullfighter. Toddy the bull, although he was small, the boy elegant, the master, moving little, swinging his body out of the way as Toddy charged head down to catch him. But they did not hit each other, according to the rules. For minutes, for an age, they circled, feigned, dodged evenly. They were getting tired. Toddy's glasses were long since lost. His black hair fell over his eyes. He panted, but the boy was almost worse. His delicate bird-like body seemed ready to break. He was growing desperate. He swerved again, a hopeless swerve. Toddy darted after, while Charlotte watched, shaking with apprehension. But the boy, gathering strength, suddenly sprang. Toddy sprang after him, but too late. The flag was in the boy's hand. In the desperation of tiredness, the boy shot straight below Toddy, a gull movement, and escaped him. There was the dew pond. There was the halfway line. There was Toddy still chasing, and there was home and safety at last. The battle was over. The boy had won. And that is the end of Chapter 11 and the end of Part 2.